Once you have revamped your resume, once you have ensured that your resume is in good shape, then you need to start the job search. No, let me tell you, this is the hard part because I can remember applying for jobs, applying, not hearing anything, and freaking out and wondering what's happening, what am I doing wrong? Why am I not hearing anything from these schools and these recruiters? That's going to happen. I can guarantee you that that is going to happen. But it doesn't mean that you're going to give up. No, job search doesn't have to be so hard. It can be simple. Not that that's going to go away, but there can be a simple way that you can make your job search process easy so that it doesn't feel so exhausting, because you're going to need to apply to multiple jobs. Remember, I said from the beginning that hundreds of people across the world are applying, right? So sometimes it takes recruiter a while to get to you, right? And so you have to be patient and you have to keep on top of things. As you see a job opening, apply for it. And I'm going to show you some tips and tricks that you can use to make your job search more productive and easier. Now, one quality often characterizes people who work abroad is determination. But determination is not enough. Typically, those who succeed in finding work abroad have a strategy to make it happen, right? So how do you turn your determination in results? By, of course, using a strategy. And I'm going to be sharing a few things that I have done with you so you can choose what you want to use. But before you go any further, before you sit down and waste the hours and the minutes applying, you need to ensure that teaching abroad is for you. I know there are some persons here that are already teaching abroad. So you got a taste of the field and you already make up your mind. But for those persons who might not be sure this is for them, right? You need to ask yourself these questions. Do you love learning about other countries? Do you have a knack for seeing things from a broader, more global perspective? Looking to broaden your experience, and do you want to work? Do you really want to work in a foreign country? Now, you can think about that later, but once you figure this out in your head, then you can continue with the job search, right? Now, we're going to look at 4 things. We're going to look at developing a job profile, narrowing your search, and of course, you've got to investigate and you have to connect and network. Now, let's start with a job profile. When I say job profile, I don't mean anything long, big, and extensive. It can be a simple list of jobs you want to pursue or a list of teaching positions you can fill. So with all the qualifications I have, what subjects can I teach? What grade levels can I teach? Now, finding a foreign employer isn't just about the culture and the excitement. It's also about job titles and recruitment. This is very important for you to know. When it comes on to the Middle East, there are so many different job titles for the same job. And I learned this while I was job searching. So, for example, I am a trained computer science educator. Right? And there are so many ways that I could search for computer science teaching jobs. I could search for ICT teacher. I could search for computer science teacher. I could search for programming teacher. I could search for web design teacher. I could break it down to literally so many things. I could search for robotics teacher. I could search for so many things, right? But these all fall under the same qualification. Just when it comes on to science, you can search for biology, chemistry, physics, whatever it might be that you can search for. Not only that, but you can narrow down your search to even grade level. So I could search for middle school computer science teacher, middle school ICT teacher, middle school programming teacher, KG, ICT, so many things. I could even narrow it down to gender. I could search for female computer science teacher, male, because this is how the Middle East is. You have schools who separate the girls from the boys. You have schools that are only for girls. You have schools that are only for boys, right? And so there are so many different ways that you can narrow down your search by title, by gender, by grade level, also by curriculum. I hope you're taking notes, guys, because you will need to do this. Also by curriculum. So for example, here in Kuwait, you have schools that are British international schools. You have schools that are Canadian international schools. You have schools that are American international schools, right? You have bilingual schools and you have IB schools, right? So based on the curriculum, you can also narrow your search, because if you know the difference between the British and the American curriculum, for example, you will know that they have different names for each grade level. So for example, in the British system, they are called key stages. So you have key stage 1, key stage 2, key stage 3, right? And in the American school, you have middle school, high school, you have elementary, middle school, and high school, right? So that can help you to search, right? So you can search for key stage 4 teacher, key stage 1 teacher, key stage 2 teacher, primary teacher, elementary teacher. If you are a qualified math teacher, you can search for primary school math teacher. You can search, because in some primary schools or in some elementary schools, right, different so for example, in Jamaica, in primary school, one teacher might teach the same class, all the subjects. In some schools, some international schools, that's not the way it is. Even in elementary school, they might have a different teacher for each subject, right? So that one class might have a different math teacher, different from an English teacher. So you can search elementary English teacher, you can search elementary science teacher, you can search elementary math teacher, right? So there's so many ways that you can break down your search by job titles. So make a list, do a Google search, make a list of some of the titles that fall under your area, right? Same thing for geography. Geography is most popular in the British curriculum, right? So for the British schools, you can find a lot of geography teaching jobs. So you can search for British schools in Kuwait and you can apply to those jobs. So there are so many ways in which you can break down your search. So now you are commissioned to make a list of all the possible job titles that matches your qualification and your experience, right? All right, so now you're going to narrow your search even more. Search countries of interest to develop an accurate list, right? So where do you want to teach exactly? All right, yes, Middle East. But which countries in the Middle East? Is it Kuwait? Is it the UAE? Or is it a specific city in the UAE? Because you can break down the UAE in so many popular cities where there are international educators. You can go to Dubai. You can go to Abu Dhabi, right? You can go to Sharjah. I don't know all the cities, but those are things that pop up in my search, right? You need to think about what curriculum would you want to teach? Do you want to explore both a British and an American curriculum, right? Or do you prefer the American curriculum? Do you prefer the British curriculum, right? What are you looking for in terms of salary and family? So if you have family with you, you need to decide where is best for me to take my family, or, you know, which country would be best for me to take my family based on your research. You also need to think about when, right? Are you available to pack up and leave where you are now? Or are you looking to start the next coming school year. So you need to be clear on these things before you start searching. Make a note of these things. So for example, when you're searching for teaching jobs in Kuwait or teaching jobs in Dubai. You know exactly which country you want to go, you know exactly which curriculum you want to focus on. So you can narrow your search. So you can say, this month, I'm going to apply to the British schools. Next month, I'm going to try the American schools. This month, I'm going to apply for jobs in Kuwait. Next month, I'm going to apply for jobs in Dubai, right? So that way you can save time and you're not all over the place applying to any and everything, right? You have an idea of what the salary that you want. So when you see a job posting that might not meet your expectation, then you don't waste your time applying for that job. All right, I hope I'm not going too fast. All right, so you need to become an investigator, right? You need to find the jobs. You need to find who are hiring and what they require. So make a note of all the information you need to know, including job titles, the skills and experience required, school name and location, and work eligibility, yes, requirements, right? So who are the different recruiters and recruiting companies? What are they looking for? So, all right, you are interested in coming to Kuwait. Now you need to become an investigator. You need to go on Google, search for a list of all the international schools in Kuwait. Go on their website, right? See what they're offering. Look at what pops up on their website. Look at who works at that school, right? Then if you see the principal on the website, then you can head over to LinkedIn. Let me type in the principal's name. Let's see if he's on LinkedIn. Let me connect with him on LinkedIn. Or let me connect with him on Instagram, right? Research the schools, research the country, see who's working there, connect with people who are working there. It's good to make connections because you never know what might happen. And that leads to my next point. You need to connect and network. Connect with these school leaders, right? Start a conversation with them on LinkedIn. Start a conversation with them on Instagram. Ask them questions, right? Engage with them, right? If you see, also, international job fairs might pop up. If you see an international job fair pop up in your area, don't be afraid to attend. Last year, they did a lot of international job fair online because of COVID, but unfortunately now they're going back face to face. So might not necessarily be an international job fair in where you are, but still connect with the recruiters, connect with the employers and even employees of the schools you are interested in, right? This will also ensure that the school is legit. When you see that people actually work there, this will help you to decide if this is a legit school, and it helps you to gain more insight and more information of, what you will be getting yourself into. Now, this is what has worked for me. When people ask me, how did you land your job? And when I said I did a Google search, they did not believe me. And I kid you not, I literally just did a lot of Google search. And this is number one thing that worked for me, Google search. And I will take a few minutes to show you exactly what I'm talking about. So everybody is seeing my screen, all right? This is Google. So remember I told you all the possibilities that I could apply for? In terms of me being a computer science teacher. So one thing I could just type in ICT teaching jobs. See, Google is already helping me in Kuwait, in Qatar, in Dubai, in Kuwait. All right. Now, Google does the work for me. Google gives me an entire list. This has 16 options right here, right? And I can go through all 16 and apply. Some of them might lead you to the school website. Some might lead you to a recruiting website that you'll have to sign up on the recruiting website and apply for the job, right? I can even change my search maybe to computer science teaching jobs in Kuwait. See, here I have another list, right? And I can go through and apply these to these jobs. I can change the country or the city. What if I'm interested in Dubai? I just remove Kuwait, I put Dubai, and I apply to all of those jobs. Another thing that Google search has helped me to do, I can also go into Google and type international schools in Kuwait. Please, my spelling is atrocious, guys, so please don't pay attention to my spelling. Google gives me an entire list, right? So I can look at that list. So for example, Kuwait International English School, all of these schools. I can pop onto the school's website, right? So when I pop onto the school website, I look for words such as career, employment, join our team, join us. Sometimes if it's not at the top menu, sometimes it's at the bottom. So I always look for that. So for example, on this, it says employment. So I click on employment and I go to see what job openings do they have or what are the requirements, right? So for example, these vacancies, they said kindly send your CV to HR. They also tell you the recruitment. They tell you about the interview process, and you can also apply online. So that's another thing that I do. I search for schools, right? Maybe I can search for an international American school. If I am interested in teaching the American curriculum, it gives me a list. The first one, American International School, right? I go on their website and I do the same thing. For this one, it has careers. So I go to careers, go to jobs to see if they have any current offering. See, they have design teacher, English teacher, all of those. Science, look, MS General Science teacher, chemistry teacher, homeroom teacher for elementary, programmer, and stuff like that. Well, I guess that's an admin job. But this is just to show you that you can narrow your search. I can do the same thing for Dubai. I can do the same thing for Qatar. I can do the same thing for Oman. So you have options. You just need to take the time to do your research. You can also go through recruitment companies, all right? Now, there are lots of recruitment companies, guys, and you have to be careful because some of these recruitment companies aren't legit. Just once they start requiring money from you, that's a no-no. None of the recruitment agencies that I know accept money. You pay $0, right, to get recruited for a job in Kuwait. So, for example, I know and I will share a list with you. One of my favorite recruitment website is test.com, and you might hear me mention this already. So you have to create a profile on these recruitment websites, right? And then you can search for jobs. So for example, English teacher, search, and you can filter your search and you can apply. This gives you over 916 job options, but you can narrow it down by country. I believe you can narrow it down. Yeah, location. So I can put in Kuwait and then search, right? And it gives me options for Kuwait. So far, this is the number one thing that has worked for me, right? Searching schools directly, using the Google auto-generated lists to apply for schools, narrowing my search by specifying the job title, the country, and even the curriculum that I want to apply for. I hope this is clear so far. All right. Did I close it? No. All right. So another thing that has worked for me is LinkedIn. There are so many recruiters for international jobs on LinkedIn. I kid you not. If I open my LinkedIn right now, you will see them on my LinkedIn because I made it a point of duty to connect with these people on LinkedIn. So much so that recruiters started to approach me about jobs, right? So LinkedIn is a very, very good place to go. There you can connect with principals. You can connect with vice principals. You can connect with recruiters who are recruiting on behalf of international schools. So if you don't have a LinkedIn profile, guys, I encourage you to get one. Like, I kid you not. And I'm going to, since I'm demonstrating I'm going to demonstrate to you. Let me show you what happens on LinkedIn. So if you're not on LinkedIn, get on LinkedIn. You will not regret it. I promise you. Go on LinkedIn, create a profile, and you will see. You see, the first person that pops up on my timeline is a recruiter. Maddie is a recruiter for the American Creative Academy. There it is. ACA. She's always posting jobs for American Creativity Academy. Always posting jobs for them, right? So there are so many recruiters on LinkedIn posting jobs, right? Another thing, you can also search on LinkedIn. If you go to jobs, you can also search for jobs on LinkedIn, right? So LinkedIn is a very good place to be, to connect with people internationally. There are recruiters there posting all the time, and you can also job search on there. And of course, you can connect with me. All right, look, we're hiring art teachers for international schools in Kuwait. This is the company that I was talking about, global recruitment company. I connected with a recruiter from there. So please, if you do not have a LinkedIn profile, create a LinkedIn profile, guys. You will not regret it. All right, so these are things that have worked for me, and they can also work for you. Let me give you a few other tips. Set up job alerts. So when you sign up for the recruitment website, don't be afraid to set up job alert, right? If you want to take some time to acquire key skills specific to a job you want, don't be afraid to do that. To make things easier, prepare job search correspondence. So for example, have a cover letter at hand or a thank you message, so you can just copy and paste it. It will save you time. Sometimes when you go on the recruitment website, sometimes it might just ask for your resume. Sometimes it might ask for a cover letter. So have a short cover letter prepared with no more than 1 to 2 paragraphs, so you can just copy and paste anytime. Keep up with your email because you don't want to miss anything, right? And apply to multiple jobs. I don't mean 1, I don't mean 2, I don't mean 3, I don't mean 5. I can remember setting up at night, applying to even 50 jobs in one night, right? And you also have to be patient. It's going to take time, so you definitely want to be patient during your job search. All right, so I have here a job search organizer. I'm going to paste the link in the chat so you can make a copy. So it's a forced copy link. So just click on make a copy and it will make a copy for you. So this is a job search organizer that you can use to build your job profile. Now in section 1, have an idea of the countries that you want to apply for, right? So if it's the US, the UK, Japan, and I broke down the Middle East. These are countries that I encourage people to apply for in the Middle East, right? You can apply to Kuwait. You can apply to UAE, specifically Dubai and Abu Dhabi. Those are some good cities to apply for. You can apply to Qatar. You can apply to Oman. The experience in these countries are basically the same. So for some people ask me about places such as Saudi Arabia. Honestly, I'm not interested in Saudi Arabia. I've never been there. However, speaking to persons who have taught there, I wouldn't recommend Saudi Arabia. But I do recommend Kuwait, UAE, Qatar, Oman. Bahrain is also a good Middle Eastern country that you can check out. The experience is the same. All right, so section 2, you can use this table to organize your search, right? So once you select the country, have a list of the programs, the agencies, the recruiters, the websites that you're going to sign up for, and take your time. I know you might have a busy schedule, but you need to set a time for this, set aside a time for this. Take your time, build your profile on these websites. I'm going to add a list of recruitment websites to this form so that you can have it. Also, list the possible job titles that you can apply for, right? This will help you to save time. Instead of just getting up, applying to every and anything, narrow your search to a specific country, a specific job type, title, a specific curriculum, whatever it might be, anything you want to add to this form, you can add it. You can organize it however you want, right? But use it to organize your job search so it saves you time and it's easier for you. When you go onto Google, you know exactly what you're searching for.